Hello everybody, it's Sarah and today I have my April wrap-up for you. First, I have a book that I actually read in March but that I forgot to talk about in my March wrap-up, and that is Stars Above by Marissa Meyer, which is a short story collection about the Lunar Chronicle. And I enjoyed it, but as far as short story collections go, it wasn't exactly one of my favorites, because for me the perfect short story collection to a series is when the stories add something to the original story, when we learn some new things about the characters that also add to their characters, that add to character development, and I just didn't find that this was the case in this book. The first book I read this month was a reread, and that was City of Heavenly Fire by Cassandra Clare, which is the 6th book in the Mortal Instruments series. I read Lady Midnight last month, and before I started Lady Midnight I had started a reread of the second half of the Mortal Instruments, and this book was still left. And so I finished it this month and it was amazing again. I was a crying mess at the end, and I noticed again how much love for details Cassandra Clare has. And to anyone who loves Cassandra Clare and has not reread any of the books, I highly recommend rereading them, because the more books you have read, the more you notice little details in the other books, and there were actually quite a few hints for Lady Midnight in this book that I noticed this time around. So then I read Outlander, or I finished Outlander, because I had already read like 300 pages or something, 250, 300 pages. And there were some enjoyable parts, but for the most part I did not enjoy this book, sadly. I was pretty annoyed by the end and just wanted to finish it. I won't go into detail right now because I have a whole spoiler-free review which I'll leave in the description, so if you're interested in why I didn't like this book, go watch the review. So Outlander really pulled me down and is also kind of the reason why I'm in a reading slump right now. I tried reading The Lies of Locke Lamora again before I realized that I was in a reading slump. I don't know. I think fate doesn't want me to finish that book, because every time I start that book, I'm in a reading slump and I just can't seem to finish it. But I will at some point in my life, I promise. After that, when I already noticed that I was in a reading slump, I picked up the author that I know is always perfect to get me out of a reading slump, or just makes me endure a reading slump better with less guilt, and that's Anne Bishop. And so I read Shadows and Light, which is the 2nd book in the Tur Alain trilogy, and I loved it again. It's just so cute and wonderful and fantastical. And then, because I still wasn't out of my reading slump, I continued my reread of Daughter of the Blood, which I started I think 2 months ago, and I finished Daughter of the Blood. This time I finished the whole book. Usually if I reread that book I stop like 2/3 in, because the ending is like really hard to read. And then when I was finished I went on right away and continued with Heir to the Shadows. So now I'm going to reread this fun book. And besides the reading slump, there was another reason why I didn't read too much this month, and that reason is called Supernatural. I started watching Supernatural like 3 weeks ago. I'm already in the 5th season. Don't ask me how I do it, I don't know, because I have a lot of work to do for uni actually, and I still managed to watch it. So that's also a reason why I didn't get too much reading done this month. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Tell me what you read this month, and I hope I'll see you soon. Kiss kiss!